Hey everybody, it's a little bit loud here. It's Sunday, it's October 12th, and yeah, I stopped to get some vitamin drink here. Actually, I didn't even want to get any beer, but outside it's raining, it's a bit windy, dark, cold. Well, not that cold, I mean, but you know, it's going to get a lot colder, of course. Hope you guys can hear me, because it's very noisy here. And yes, let's talk a little bit about what's going on. Yesterday evening, another war broke out. Donald Trump couldn't stop that one. Well, it looks like it. People are keeping their fingers crossed, hoping it's not going to continue, but it's between Afghanistan, the Taliban, and Pakistan. And apparently there was some sort of border incursions or something from Pakistan and into Afghanistan. And I don't know if there's a little bit more involved to it than that, but Afghanistan, they had some minor shots into Pakistan, and Pakistan, I guess, wait, getting ahead of myself. They stopped at about midnight, and sometime before that, I guess Pakistan started unloading on Afghanistan. So that's a little bit of a talk of the Middle East right now, hoping things won't keep going. At about midnight, Afghanistan said they met whatever objectives they wanted to, and I know some people got killed, so not nice. Don't like those thin plastic cups. Yes, okay, what else is going on? You have to remember what's kind of important. Let's remember just a little over a week ago, Trump said he kind of demanded, it wasn't really even he wasn't really asking, he was kind of demanding that the Taliban hand back Bagram Air Base, you know, after Joe Biden, you know, pulled out as he did. And so, you know, Trump wants it back. And I think just a few days ago, it's very coincidental, isn't it? Just a few days ago, Afghanistan said, no, they're not going to hand it back. You know, I think Donald Trump said he wants it back immediately. And I think the Taliban, they took, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 days to decide, and the day after they said no, or 2 days maybe, I don't know exactly. They get into a skirmish with Pakistan. And Pakistan, I don't know whose side they're on necessarily. It's kind of like a little bit like Turkey. You never know. There was a time, way back in the old days, and I did a study on that, and I guess it was the first, he was a prince, I guess you'd call him a prince, or would you call him the king of Prussia at that time? He was from the Hohenzollern family, which was the last dynasty of Germany, and of course, they were the precursor to Germany, was Prussia. Before that, it was Brandenburg. It was Northmark, Brandenburg, Prussia. And then it was just Prussia. And then Prussia consolidated Germany, and they made sure they did it without Austria. I've mentioned that in other videos. But anyway, there was somebody called the Great Elector of Brandenburg. He switched sides quite a few times from the Protestant to Catholic. And I guess that country, if you call Prussia a country, that was the first country that had religious freedom. As a matter of fact, that under that same ruler, they also started something what the United States copied, and that was back in what, about in about 1620, 1625, and the United States copied it in about, I don't know, when was that, about 1860, and they called it the Pony Express, you know, and they acted as if they invented it, you know. It's like automobiles. I think they were first invented in Europe before they were in the United States. A lot of things were invented elsewhere, but the United States makes all the people think that the United States invented it all. We're the greatest country that has ever lived. You know. So, wait a minute, a country doesn't live. Well, ever existed anyway. So. That's why I don't like these things. I don't know. You gotta be like you gotta be maybe a transitioning person or something to be able to hold it. Because if you end up squeezing it, you need to practically hold it with two hands. Gosh, these plastic cups. The ones in the States, I think, are a little better. You know, those red ones. I remember back in my day, when you know, high school and time, you go to these parties or something like that. I never did in college. I never really partied, but anyway. But in high school, you know, you had these red cups, red plastic cups. They're at least a little bit stronger. Okay. So what else is going on? Rand Paul, he recently gave a short interview to some news outlet. Maybe it was Fox, I'm not too sure. And talking about how the tariffs, Trump's tariffs, you know, Trump's tariffs, he says that the United States is getting really rich. I mean, billions and trillions of dollars. I think he said $2 trillion or something like that. These kids are really, they're actually really cute over here. They all got their face painted. Anyway, the mother, well, she smiled anyway. One of the mothers, there's two. One was gone at the time. So otherwise they probably, you know, if you're in Germany, I've been in Germany and not long ago, and if you're on the train or something like that and you just film what the train looks like, there'll be people that come up to you and say, I don't want to be in your video, you must delete it right now. You must delete your video. I don't want to be in your video. I said, oh, there's no film in here. I can't remember what I said. Anyway, whatever was appropriate, so that I didn't have to delete my video for some stupid girl that probably thinks she's a fox or some crap like that, you know. I identify with being a fox, so I'm a fox. I don't know exactly what. Anyway, I didn't delete my video. You have to look back and you'll see her. If you can find some of my videos from when I was in Germany. When was that? Oh, like 2 years ago. Ooh, I think so. Anyway, what else did Rand Paul say? He said that these tariffs are crushing family farms, small businesses and things, you know, like mom and pop stores, things like that, I guess. And he said bourbon manufacturers. I guess somebody who makes bourbon contacted him. I don't know why a big deal is bourbon. So, and what else? He also said Democrats' healthcare is way too expensive, and paying a lot, obviously, to give it out to illegal migrants, illegal immigrants. So that's what makes it more expensive, and yeah, it's terrible. You know, I agree with Trump on a lot of domestic things in the United States. A lot of things that he does out overseas or whatever, I don't really agree with. The Epstein thing, everybody knows. Everybody knows. I tell you what, that's how he lost a huge amount of his people by covering for Israel. I mean, you could almost say that Donald Trump is like Ted, or what is it? Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, Israel first. There's a lot of them. It's a sickening thing. It's a sickening thing when you see this. Steve Bannon came out. I'll talk about Steve Bannon too, what he said. A lot of people, Marjorie Taylor Greene, all of these. I mean, too many people that are loyal to Israel. These people probably don't like it when I'm talking here. I'll move down a little bit more to the end of the table. Since these people just left, it's very difficult to get a seat, as you see. Especially these ones, because they have a little bit of padding here. You don't have to sit on a... Actually, those are kind of comfortable, these bucket seats. So. But this place does tremendous business. You can go to bigger shopping malls, and well, there's Dana Mall, which is really big. The mall is huge, and their food court, maybe it does even a little bit better than this one. But you go to like Comeno Corca, which is also a huge shopping mall, and their food court like sucks. It sucks, you know. It's just not comfortable. People don't like it, so there's all kinds of seats over there. And but this one, you know, like there's a war on for beer. You see Papa Donor right here, and over here. Wait a minute, there's Papa Donor. Oh, and then over here you have KFC, and also that Cafe Ma Twang or whatever, right next to Papa Donor. They have like beer wars like this. this one I'm drinking right here. What does this cost? It's 1 liter of beer, and it costs $5.50. It used to be 5. Maybe they're getting too much business. But the one right next to it is 7 rubles, and I think at KFC it's like 5. It's like 5.70 or something like that. Some young ladies, so they're even too young for the Epstein people, I think. Oh, these people, they left. They didn't like it. Somebody else left there. Okay, Rand Paul. What else did he say? Rand Paul. That he was talking about a lot of those Donald Trump killing those people in the boats, supposedly drug dealers or something, and supposedly from Venezuela, and they got no due process. You just see some people in a speedboat. I don't really know where they get their information, but apparently he calls them drug addicts, or drug dealers. So he blows them all up. You know, some people think that's really cool, but I agree with Rand Paul. There's no due process there, and apparently the last one, maybe I don't know if he's blown up any more since then. The last one was Colombian. They were not from Venezuela. And who knows if they had any drugs whatsoever. You know, I don't know. I think he's getting a little bit carried away. You know, they have a lot of intelligence down there. I used to live on an island, and after I moved to a different island, then they got intelligence there too. You know, U.S. intelligence, drones and things like that. You know, U.S. Coast Guard base thousands of miles from the United States. I mean, what kind of U.S. coast are they guarding there? But actually, on that island, I don't know if it's still Donald Trump Casino and Donald Trump Golf Course there. Very small island called Canawan, belonging to, in the jurisdiction anyway, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But then they have another island there called Mystique. And Mystique is belonging to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I don't know what kind of money they pay, but it's an island for the exclusive super rich, and a lot of people, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Shania Twain, Pierce Brosnan, the royal family, I think, anyway, a lot of those, they own, like Bryan Adams, Mick Jagger lives there. Bryan Adams was living there, I think during the COVID. I don't know if he's living there now. But anyway, a lot of rich people live there, and a lot of people, or they have houses there. Tommy Hilfiger, you know, they rent them out most of the time. And some people I've met, they bought the house, probably the biggest property on that island, worth, I don't know, maybe $200 million, $500 million or something. It's like 16 acres. It's probably 1/3 of the island, I don't know. And it's a venture capitalist from Virginia. So anyway, I knew them. As a matter of fact, I rented an apartment in a house they owned on the mainland. So. And I actually have a video, believe it or not. That was my first video ever. I've never shown it, never put it on YouTube. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll get around to it. Some poor guy just now just came up to me. He didn't order any food. He's just bought something maybe in a supermarket and he's eating it here. I don't know how to show him. He probably would get pissed off. I don't like to do it to kind of poorer people anyway. If he's poor, I don't know. So what else did Rand Paul say? Rand Paul said, that the thing is too expensive, and the U.S. is still paying a lot of money for the military-industrial complex, and I think mostly talking about Ukraine. So there's still money going to Ukraine, and they just passed a bill, and I'll get to that too. But anyway, so he was like when I went, I didn't add that with Donald Trump not giving due process, like to Soleimani from Iran, you know, killed him and 16 bystanders as well. Jeez, terrible. So much for America, at least everything the way America does it all. I don't know. I tell you what, I had to, you know, people look here and all that, but what is this? It's either stay out in the rain, and I did all the work here, doing the research on all the news, so I have to fill you guys in rather than walking in the rain or standing under some boring kind of place. Actually, it looks kind of boring here anyway. I mean, the background if you guys see. So I should actually maybe face the camera the other direction, but I don't know. So what about this peace process? A little bit about the peace, not the PIS plan. Like Zelensky, he was even talking the other day. He said PIS plan again. What the heck? You know, I mean, didn't people kind of tell you you got to kind of work on that word a little bit and maybe to say it a little bit differently? So anyway, so the biggest demand for Israel, and of course it's for PR. It's for PR and nothing else, because as you know, the main reason why they went into Gaza is domination, to take Gaza. And I don't know, I think Scott Ritter has said that they lost, Israel lost, and maybe they actually did, because I think the whole plan was to take all of Gaza and kick the Palestinians out, and we all remember that. Donald Trump was even working on that. They were working on where they're going to send all these Palestinians, Somalia and all these different places, and just to get rid of them so that Israel can take Gaza and then have Jared Kushner, who is there, by the way, at the moment, strangely enough, do property development. So I don't know if that's still, I don't know if that is, if they've gotten rid of that demand or if that's still on the table. They're trying to make everybody think that it's not on the table anymore, because I think Donald Trump got so much criticism by the truth, which means ethnically cleanse that land, ethnically cleanse it of Palestinians, kick them off, and then build luxury resorts for rich people. Where Jared Kushner gets a lot of the money. And of course the American hotel owners, they get a lot of money, and they pay a lot of rent to Israel, which that gets a lot of money. The perfect plan, except for what do we do with these damn Gazan people? Oh, they can stay if they want. They can live in the garbage dump, or you know, kind of huddle around the sewage treatment plant or this desalination plant, so that they can have some fresh water. The tourists, I mean. I don't know. The water that they weren't quite yet able to steal from Palestinian lands or whatever. And I don't know. It's terrible. You have to read some of those books by Leon Uris. He has a lot of novels, and obviously he's on the side of Israel, and a lot of that talks about the beginning days even. I think I read The Hajj. Did he write? He might have wrote The Hajj. And of course that talks about the beginning takeover, and when what actually happened was, you know, a lot of times the first thing that at that time, the Jews that moved, the Zionist Jews, I have to say that, the Zionist Jews that moved there, they took over the water, wherever the source of water was. And then after a short period of time, they started cutting off the water to people that were the Palestinians. Now this was not just in Gaza, this was all over, of course, in Palestine, as you guys know that. So that's terrible. Anyway, you guys, it's an interesting history. Then you can find out really what the source of all of this stuff is. And then they say, oh, there was what did they say? It was a people without a country sent to a country without a people, which of course is BS. Palestinians were there. But anyway, they tried to perpetrate that myth on all of humanity for a long period of time, and it's really terrible. And you know, as if they didn't have a country. These people lived in like Russia, Lithuania, Belarus. They lived all over. They lived in Canada. They lived in all these countries. So people without a country. So where can you exist on the planet without being in a country, and being part of a country, and having citizenship there? And Judaism is a religion, it's not a nationality. So you have to remember that. As much as they try to make you think that it's not. So what else about this hostage stuff? So Hamas was actually, you know, Scott Ritter says that the Palestinians actually won, at least the Gazans maybe. But then you look at what's going on, and I don't think it's quite happened just yet. But if Hamas gives up the hostages, then in Donald Trump words, they have no cards anymore. They lost their cards. They gave up all their cards. So what else do they have? And as you know how Israel really operates, if any of you have been following this for as long as like I have, I'm an old guy, 26 years old, like I think, anyway, I went to high school with, what's his name? Who's the young guy that's got the beard and was in California, moved to Florida, and now he's married Miss, I think he married Miss Russia. Kids watching me. I started watching the guy a long time ago. I'm having a Biden moment at the moment, forgot the guy's name. Because he's got a strange kind of a name. His first name is like should be a last name. But anyway, forget that guy. Young guy. George Galloway loves him too. Anyway, real smart guy. It's like from Clerks. I'm talking like... Huh? Tis знаешь меня?
Can I take photo, please?
Oh, okay. You can take a photo. Знаете мой channel? YouTube?
Can you give me a name of your channel?
Oh, Duke in Belarus. Young guys. Ah, the Spider-Man people.
Is it in YouTube or it's
Yeah, the только YouTube, нет Instagram, нет.
I'm from Deutschland.
You're from Germany? Oh, me? Tosche Deutschland. No, first, talking in German here.
What's his?
Chesa, Seattle. But,
Is it you?
yeah, that's me. That's it. You see the photo. Okay. Yeah, fans, so big fans. Such my big channel. I get up to a lot of people looking at me now. I get like what 30 views or something like that. I don't even know where I was at now. Now let's see, where of talking about Palestine or the stuff. Actually, you know, I was in a bus. It was a couple of weeks ago, and some Belarusian guy, he said, I know your YouTube channel. Once I was in language school, and a guy from Turkey said, I see you on YouTube, I watch your channel. So, and it makes you really wonder. It said, well, how come YouTube only lists like 29 views, or 27, or sometimes 17 views? And then I even know people, I can sit there and count it, but I said, well, I only know about 9 people that watch this video. But then again, I find out other people. I was on some other site, and some people said, yeah, that's you. Oh, I see you. I watch you on YouTube. And it's like, well, how come I'm only getting like 20? And I told you guys already about YouTube, and I'm sitting there looking at it, and sometimes you have like 67 views, and you see it rolling back, and it's like, what? How is it that people are unseeing my videos? Huh? YouTube?
YouTube.
Duke in Belarus. Angliski.
Thank you.
No problem. It's politic. Тоже немного Беларусь, Новогрудок, Grodno, чуть-чуть Germania, things like that. So no problem. I guess they probably think I'm some big famous YouTuber like I was just about to say the name I forgot. Anyway, the beer's taking effect too, so. So what else? Where was I at here? Anyway, I was talking about the cards. Like, Hamas will have no cards anymore. And but what's going on? You know, making this public and all this, showing, you know, that Israel and everybody is supposed to comply. You know, and by the way, tomorrow there is supposed to be a big, what is it? What do they call it? A peace plan sort of a deal. And all these countries are invited. Japan is going to be there. India is going to be there. And most of the time it's going to be a head of state. It's a big event. And Donald Trump, it's posted by Donald Trump, by the way, but it's in Egypt. I think it starts at like 2:30 in the afternoon, probably Egypt time. And the strange thing is, the Middle East peace process, I guess it's supposed to be getting signatures and all that sort of thing. But you know, the strange thing is, Hamas is not showing up, and Israel's not showing up. So it's kind of like, makes you wonder, well, what is this? What's going on here? It's Dar al-Sheikh, I think is where it's. I have it written here. I'll get into that a little bit later. So, but anyhow, we're hearing all about these. Well, the main thing, that's what I was getting at. That's what I was getting at. How dare you distract me? No, the main part of what's going on here with Israel, at least on Israel's part, they're for PR purposes, at least only PR purposes, they're trying to say, to get the hostages back. And of course, Netanyahu doesn't give a damn about the hostages. I think he's even said that. As a matter of fact, it's very well known by Max Blumenthal and so many other people that put out the Cannibal Directive. And the IDF, Israeli Defense Force, was ordered to kill Israelis if they looked like or were becoming hostages of Hamas in Gaza on October 7th, 2023. So most of those people that were killed were by the Israelis, the Hannibal Directive, you know. And it's kind of like what I learned when I was in the army, when they were telling us a lot of time, they said, kill them all, let God sort them out. It's like, what the heck? And I said, I was thinking that. It was like on the second or third day. And when that first drill sergeant, who was only for in processing anyway, when his feet hits the grass, everybody's supposed to shout out, blood makes the grass grow, kill, kill, kill. And I'm sitting there thinking, crap, what the hell have I got myself into? These kids here. Spider-Man. Interesting. Funny kids here. But anyway, I thought, what in the heck am I getting into? And then, you know, but at that time, my first duty station was not any kind of not very much combat, really. Not so much. Later on, I got more into like a military training place where nobody wanted to go. People commit suicide when they came down on orders to go there. It was on, what do you call it? Huh? Okay, hang on a second here. I'll put it on pause for a second here. Okay, they wanted to know where to find me on YouTube. Maybe I'll get another subscriber of a 12-year-old girl or something like that. Duh. I don't think so. Okay. Yeah, they found it. Okay. Okay. So what else? Let's see. But what I was going to mention is they're talking about those hostages, but how come nobody ever talks about the 13,000 Palestinian hostages? Oh, they're not important because they're not Jewish and they're not American, and that's all that matters apparently. So I mean, they're subhumans. God forbid, what if they were Russians or something like that? You know, at the moment. Belarusian people don't have such a bad status, and of course, like the Ukrainians. But of course, before this, you know, they were also subhumans, and now the Ukrainians think that they're superhumans. You know, the Banderites. What a friggin' crazy world! I just can't believe all that stuff. I don't even remember. I don't even know why I'm talking about. You know, superiority, this and that. God's chosen people, the master race. The exceptional people, as according to but look at these nice kids here, you know. These are very good kids, and you know, all these people. What are they supposed to be subhuman or something like that? I mean, what a bunch of crap. Gosh, sickening. Anyway, 13,000 Palestinians, 13,000, and it was what like 40 40 Israelis or something like that. And I guess with this peace process, 2,000 are supposed to be released, and there was supposed to be 200 of them were supposed to be Hamas. But as you know, all of the conditions keep getting whittling down more and more and more by Israel. You know, everything is changing. Like first it was supposed to be a Palestinian state. Oh, no, 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 no. You know, Israel put an amendment there. And then they were supposed to withdraw from Gaza. No, 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 no. Now they made a yellow line, so you know, Israel only has to withdraw to the yellow line. You know, and now it's only 60 Hamas, not 200 Hamas, only 60. So, you know, I mean, what's next? You know, I tell you what, they better hurry up and sign this peace deal, because who knows what's going to happen. Maybe that's why Israel's not showing up, or is that part of that peace deal? I don't know. Oh my God, I'll tell you what, this is not going to last. Like I said in my last video, which was just about fall colors and things like that, it's incredible. It's these ladies over here are looking at my page, I think now, but the fall colors. And oh no, I mentioned in that video that this ceasefire or peace agreement that might last for what, 1 day, 1 month? I don't know. I don't think it'll last a year. Yeah, whatever this is, a ceasefire? Is this a peace plan or is this a ceasefire? I don't know. So, okay, in the last video I mentioned China. Well, actually, it wasn't about China. It was called cognitive warfare. Now, this is really important. This is really, really important. And of course, if you are watching the mainstream media, or even, I'll tell you what, even a lot of these people that are in, let me say, the truth movement, people that make videos, to include like even Candace Owens or Alex Cristoforo, Alexander Macuris, you know, the Duran, and what is this guy named? Nick Fuentes. He's a little bit too harsh for me. But Dave Smith, very good guy. I like Dave Smith. And, you know, George Galloway. But I still can't remember that young guy's name. Justin. I keep wanting to say Justin, but oh, Jackson Hinkle, that's his name. You know, my Biden moment has ended. Maybe I'll tell you what. It was the beer that did it. Thank God. Thank God for beer. Yes, that brought my memory back. But anyway, this is called cognitive warfare. And you know, you remember cognitive dissonance, and this is absolutely groundbreaking. This was put out by some institute in China. You know, it was a long-term study, and of course they were looking at a lot of things that happened in the United States, and it was going over like many years and looking at all these incidents, and it's actually, a lot of this is unbiased, and it's so incredible. And there was in now, I think he's an American. His name is Dr. Greg Simmons. Now, he has addressed this as well. He talked exactly about this. And like I told you, I was going to mention this in other videos in the future. But this, he was talking about, he said it's this, well, first I'll tell you about him. Dr. Greg Simmons, he is a social media narratives expert. That's not like what he's a professor in, of course. But he's more in like probably how media works in society and all that sort of thing. And I think he was explaining like it's very, you know, like how the United States uses. So this is media, the CIA, NGOs, embassies, etc. And they're all playing their part. And get this, grooming and creating an inner slave mentality among the target population to separate them from their government and to make them useful idiots for the U.S. imperial cause. I couldn't have said it better myself. I've been touching on this subject for so many times in my videos. I tell you, I talk about this in a lot of videos, and this is exactly what it is. And a lot of us, I'll tell you what, they're Americans over here, and I I said I would make videos with them, and like interviewing them and getting their take basically on this same thing. And this is a subject I have to bring up with them, and they will say the same thing, because we contact each other online on Telegram channels, and they basically say the same thing. This is incredible. This is incredible stuff. And they brainwash. And I'll tell you what, it's done through proxies. It's done through Poland, it's done through Lithuania and through Latvia, mostly for this country. Not Estonia. Estonia, Russia is a big country, but they use Estonia, and Estonia is part of this to be used against Russia. The big mighty power of Estonia. And anyway, but it's done through foreign countries as well. And I don't know everything about this, but it's, you can make that pretty girl keep walking by here. Anyway, giving me some weird looks. Maybe I'm still really good looking. I don't know. Just kidding. But anyway, this guy, Dr. Greg Simmons. That was a quote from him, by the way. That was not a quote from the study. And and again, I always think of this. When he said the word useful idiots, he used like people within countries as useful idiots. And trust me, there's a lot of them in Belarus. There's a lot of them. And I tell you what, and they are so brainwashed into believing that things are so much better in the United States and in the West in general. And us people that come here, like Americans and from the UK, and people even that come for a visit, trust me, and there's so many. And that's one reason why they subdue, I guess, what's the word? Anyway, they do this to Belarusian channels, especially the English-speaking ones. And Google is doing this because they don't want this message to get out. Because people that are here, and even people that come here, they just come here for a visit, and they walk and they say, "What the heck? This place is great." It's incredible. And they're able, but the West is able to brainwash even the Belarusians into thinking that they are living in hell here. And I show you this mall. These are just regular people here. And I go to all these places, and these people, it's absolutely great. And they're look at it, and they're eating, they're ordering pizzas, and they got this huge food mall just packed with people, and the supermarkets are all full. And I'll tell you what, most of these Belarusians, they have more money than I do. Just trust me on that. I guarantee you 100% they have more money than I do. And I'm thinking this is great here. And it's like they are told and brainwashed. This is really incredible. That's why I am so much into this cognitive warfare, and even what this guy said, this new guy, what did I say his name was? Simmons? Greg Simmons. Not Gene Simmons, Greg Simmons. Gene Simmons, he's the guy with the big tongue. But, and probably YouTube will use that as my regular photo, is me with my tongue sticking out. I wouldn't be surprised. But, no, but it's absolutely incredible. And it is so incredible. I remember I took a psychology class. I took some I was actually interested in psychology back when I started in the university. And they did this thing about, hypnotizing people, and it was incredible. It's not like they take a stopwatch and they wave it back and forth. When I say this word or something like that, when I snap my fingers. No, but what they did is they just told people to shut their eyes, and they said, hold out your arms. Like they took 3 or 4 people and they put them up in front of the class, and this was a psychologist, and she was saying, like, hold out your arms in front of you and imagine that I am putting buckets, that you are getting buckets put onto your arms. Imagine this, buckets put onto your arms, and each one, is thinking, okay, I got a bucket on each arm, empty buckets, and I am putting in your left bucket, in your left arm, a brick or a rock or something like that. And or maybe both, I can't remember exactly. It was a long time ago. That was the 80s. I'm an old guy, 26, like Jackson Hinkle. But anyway, they're putting like rocks or something, supposedly, just suggesting. It was a power of suggestion. and telling these people that I'm putting a rock in this bucket or that bucket or both buckets or something like that, and they were doing it, and I'm putting another rock in, I'm putting this in and stuff like that, and we're all sitting there in the class watching these people. These are students, they're also students in the class, and one of their arms keeps going lower and lower and lower, and yet there is no buckets and there is no rocks or nothing like that. There's no bricks getting put into these things, and their arms were sinking lower and lower, and it was like that was absolutely incredible. And it just shows you, just from that alone, the power of suggestion. And Donald Trump, as you see, he's going out and saying, now everybody loves Israel. Now we all love Israel. They love Benjamin Netanyahu. And it's like, I don't have really anything against Israel and the people, like Haaretz newspaper and stuff. There's probably extremely great people in Israel. I have no doubt about that. But I don't like Benjamin Netanyahu, and I don't like these people that are in his. If you're in his party and he picked you, then I don't like you. I just don't like you. If he picked you personally, I don't like you at all. Sorry about that. I'm sure most of you feel the same way. And one good thing, that's one reason why Israel, they took control of TikTok. You saw these young people right here. And you saw the guy that just came up here because he saw me that I'm doing some video and he wanted a photo with me. And I don't know. Obviously I get more views than what Google shows on my YouTube channel. I know that. I've told you guys that many times. But anyway, these young guys in TikTok, and look at me, look at how young I am. See this? I just bleached this. Actually it's a fake beard. I'm really a really young guy. But I should be on Jimmy Dore's comedy show or Dave Smith. I think they're both comedians. But anyway. But I'm not that funny. I'm not as funny as, who's that guy, that Dave Kimball or something? Anyway, what the heck is going on here? But anyhow, cognitive warfare, absolutely incredible. Grooming, and that is absolutely true. When you heard about the grooming, what they do. Oh, somebody's actually filming me right here. I don't want to show him, but anyway. Gosh, what the heck is going on here? Some guy. But anyway, grooming. The Pakistani people were grooming people in young girls in the UK. That's just something, whatever it's about. But remember, Green Day. Don't forget Green Day. As a matter of fact, you should watch that. I should put a link. I'm kind of crappy and doing all this kind of stuff, and I'm lazy as well when it comes to social media, but watch that video, American Idiot, and that also applies to people such as in Belarus and stuff like that. Absolutely terrible. But this guy, not Gene Simmons, Greg Simmons, he said it works like a cult. Works like a cult. Wow. Incredible. Big data and AI, artificial intelligence and big data, big data, like Wikipedia is already, they're already using this fake information. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on, as you guys know. Unbelievable. Okay, now I'm going to get onto what I was talking about earlier. The U.S. Congress passed a $925 billion dollar defense bill. And of course, supplemental bills are going to be following. I think this must be for 2026, I would think, because that's pretty big. They didn't say 2026 in the article, but obviously they mean for this next coming. Wait a minute, we still got. We're not even in December yet. I don't know. Maybe. Excuse me. Right. The fiscal year ends in October. At the end of October, I believe. So this is for this next fiscal year. So this is the 925 billion. As a matter of fact, let's talk about the October surprise. Is that the October surprise? I don't know. We haven't had an October surprise yet. We're still a little bit early in August. Just keep your eyes and ears open. Okay. I'll tell you what. I've told you guys about YouTube, and I don't like it when there's a few people running around, but I do much better. Even when people come up and talk to me and want to know this stuff and all that sort of deal, I do much better here when there's a lot of people than I do when there's a few people. So, but anyway, still people looking at me, but that's no big deal. So there will be supplemental bills, and there's also money in that bill. Money in that bill to go to Ukraine. And I think what I saw was like once 1 billion, at least a billion right now. But there's other things that you got to consider about that. Ukraine is getting a lot more money from the United States. Don't fool yourself. Don't fool yourself that Donald Trump, what he's doing. He certainly is cutting it off in some ways, but obviously he's still selling weapons. He's selling them to Europe. He's just, he'd lower the cost a little bit. But he's sharing big intelligence, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment here. But when you hear about this $925 billion, I can't even get over that, $925 billion defense bill. That does not include Israel. Israel, they make on a separate bill. Trust me on that. I mean, I've mentioned that already before. That does not include Israel. And Israel, and a lot of that stuff is not enclosed. And as you all know, Israel gets $4 billion guaranteed every single year. And it normally always turns out to be at least $10 billion, like it was last year. And the year before that, by the year, I think it was like 2024. It's incredible. So a lot of money goes to Israel. And of course, some of it comes back and it pays off your congressman, as you all know. It's a really sick thing. It's a really sick thing. You guys know that. I've mentioned it already before. So it's like a money laundering thing. They send the money to Israel, and Israel sends a lot of it back by buying the congressman. You get a free trip. I think Matt Gaetz again talked about, I think it was, where was he, on some show talking about his free trip to Israel, and he didn't go on some sort of a excursion or whatever that the other congressmen go on. And he had to go back to his room for some odd reason, and there's a guy poking around his room, and the guy said, "Oh, I'm from the hotel." He wasn't from the hotel. He was planting listening devices, of course, and whatever, and looking through his personal things, to find something against him. And like I told you guys before, a lot of time, because I was in intelligence to a certain extent, I was not a thing like Larry Johnson or Ray McGovern or any of those types of people. I was in an intelligence battalion, and I've known a lot of people. I've known assassins and things like that. But what they do is they want to have the goods on you, so they need leverage. The Donald Trump cards, the cards. They want to have cards on you. They want to have the leverage on you. And of course, one way to do that is, and that's why I told you also in another video, the CIA, they like going through your garbage. They go through your garbage. Maybe you didn't shred something, even if it is shredded. Sometimes I guess they can put it together. But anyway, they go through your garbage and they find things, and maybe that's why I go buy a lot of garbage cans when I'm walking around on my walkabout videos. But no, what I'm saying is they want to get the goods on people. They want something to manipulate you by. If you like little boys and you like little girls, or you like money and things like that. I mean, they try to find out how they can leverage you, and they do an analysis of how important, how communicative you are, how good you are with. And I'll tell you what, that's one thing. You read that book, By Way of Deception, which is an Israeli Mossad agent, and he talks about how they choose the best Mossad agents, and they actually they put them through tests. And you go out and, like for example, you're supposed to go into like even go to some people and just regular people on the street, and they observe you to see how effective you are at convincing people, and not just brainwashing them, but all sorts of things. If you were, what's the word? Anyway, so you go up to somebody and say, "Oh, I need to use your balcony because I have this thing and I got to do whatever." So it's up to you, but you have to get out on the balcony and wave your arms back and forth. So you have to come up with a scenario on how to get into this building and get up on a certain floor into like somebody's apartment, go out on the balcony and wave like 5 times or something like that. And if you are able to do that, then they say, "Oh, this person is a good person." And they give you multiple tests, and that's how Mossad actually works. So they see how effective you are. That's your abilities. And I've also mentioned that there's, that name starts with a B. There's a fake guy he's a fake CIA agent, and I knew it right away. He's a fake CIA agent. He talks about, "Oh, I'm a CIA agent." He goes all over on YouTube. And even people that are truth activists, have well-known channels, have interviewed this guy, and it's like, what the heck, you know? Gosh, I can't believe it. I cannot believe it, you know? And it's not that I've been a spook. I've never been a kind of a spook, but I've known them, and I've seen them in foreign countries, and they infiltrate into religious groups, into I keep wanting to say Greenpeace. What's that one thing that John F. Kennedy started? Biden. I'm doing a Biden on me again. Not Greenpeace. The Peace Corps. The Peace Corps. So I finally got it. Beer helped me again. The Peace Corps. I met a lot of Peace Corps guys, and I never thought that any of them. Well, maybe yes, one of them, but he would have been really pretty good. He might have been, but if he was very good. He was a very good, like CIA operative or intelligence operative. But I don't know. Like I said, I've talked to quite a few. Not quite a few. Three is not quite a few. So, but anyway, let me keep going here on all this stuff that I'm talking to you guys. I'm trying to be truthful with you guys, you know, and a lot of people will exaggerate and say a bunch of crap on YouTube, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, I've mentioned a little bit about her. She's a big fan of Netanyahu. She loves Netanyahu, you know, and a lot of people are talking, I'll tell you what, I think, was it this cognitive? Anyway, a lot of people are talking about how all these agencies have been like not only infiltrated but taken over. It's not. I'm not talking about TikTok, but you talk about the IAEA and of course USAID, Radio Free Europe, Voice of America, so many of these things, and these are all taken over by, they say, globalists. I would say the establishment. But anyway, she's a big fan of Netanyahu, and I'll tell you what, the strange thing about her, what's her name, Mikado? She is telling Donald Trump to invade Venezuela. Now she is the opposition leader, and she wants a foreign country to come in. Is she either really stupid or is she complicit? Oh, or is she both? She's probably both. Anyway, my God. So she wants Trump to attack Venezuela, probably to bomb Venezuela. And then she's a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Does that sound like something a Nobel Peace Prize winner would do? And she did that, I think, she's even been going all the way back to 2018. She's a big operative. Anyway, Zelensky came out saying the West should give him 10 times more ATACMS in order to make a difference in what? In him winning the war or establishing peace. I thought the whole objective was to establish peace. No, but he wants to win the war. I mean, and that's what it's all about. It's incredible. And he was obviously encouraged by Boris Johnson, as you all know, back in March 2022. And of course, many people in the meantime, Ursula von der Leyen, Friedrich Merz, and Starmer. Come on. So he needs 10 times more. But I'll ask you, what is he using these ATACMS for? He's using these ATACMS, and of course ATACMS, they come from only the United States, not the West. So he wants 10 times more ATACMS. 10 times more! And you know what they're using these ATACMS for? I'll get to that in a bit. Wow. So the newest tariff war started. Let me talk about that first. I'm putting in suspense about Zelensky. But I have it written a little bit later after news I found out more later on about that. The newest tariff, or whatever you call it, what kind of a war between Trump and China is, Trump is trying to make everybody think that China as a matter of fact, he even said it, you can find a video. It's like out of the blue. Why did China do this to us? Why did China? Well, maybe because you did it to China first, So the United States started putting these big port fees on China's ships that are coming to the United States and delivering your Amazon goods. That's another thing that came out. A statistic came out, and they're talking about, well, where do all these goods that Amazon traffics, where do they come from? And I'll tell you what, China sends more of the things that Amazon sends out to people, more of them come from China than the next 5 countries, including the United States, combined. The next 5 countries combined. And all the other countries are just little minuscule things. So basically, Amazon orders, they're mostly all from China. It's incredible. So anyway, Trump putting these fees on here. I mean, who pays that? Who pays these fees? Is it the Americans or is it? It's the Americans. It's not the Chinese. But it just makes it less attractive. I don't know. China actually shouldn't care, but of course they don't get the money. It just makes their products look less like the tariffs that they put on Chinese cars, which are extremely good cars, by the way. I'm sorry to say that. I am sorry to say that. But China is actually really impressive. I just have to say that. I'm sorry to say it. Anyway, the port fees that they put on China, and then so China reciprocated, and then Donald Trump added another 100% on the tariffs, which makes it now that there's 130% tariffs on and everything from China. Okay, now this is a little bit of what I was talking about before. The globalists now, they have the WHO. They control the World Health Organization, IAEA, the Nobel Committee. That's pretty obvious now, isn't it? Not only after this one, but after, that Biden got it before and all that sort of deal. And the International Criminal Court as well. Wow. Oh, okay. So I'm just letting you know that. And there's much, much, much more. I said USAID already, and Voice of America. I mean, that's CIA. And I mean, it's absolutely incredible. It's incredible. It's incredible. You're not ever going to get anything straight going on. No matter what you think, you're not going to get the truth. The only truth you'll get, maybe, and I'm surprised she's lasted, is Candace Owens. Boy. And she is a young lady. And I tell you what, if I teamed up with Candace Owens, it's not that I know more, or I have connections more, but I just know a little bit more about, I've seen a lot of things in my life, and anyway, I could say, oh, Candace, slow down a little bit, that could be this. Anyway, so let's talk about neither Hamas nor Israel is to attend this Middle East peace plan, that's what it's called. And it was supposed to be, it's tomorrow, Tomorrow, October 13th, signing in Egypt. And like I said, India's there, Spain is there, Japan is even there. Donald Trump, he probably invited most of the world. Matter of fact, you know what? Donald Trump even invited Iran. It's like, did Trump actually invited Iran to go there? But who doesn't show up? Israel doesn't show up. That's really strange now, isn't it? You know why? Because it's called the signing. It's called signing, to sign. And do you think, well, maybe Israel is starting to get a little bit honest and they won't sign it. Normally they'll sign stuff and then renege on it and come up with some sort of a reason why they can't fulfill their agreements. But that's pretty interesting. Okay, what have I got? Oh, I'm almost an hour. Just a couple minutes shy. 1 minute shy. Steve Bannon came out. He was big on Trump. He was actually his campaign manager for the first Donald Trump term, and he supported Donald Trump, just like a lot of people did, like Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and others. But a lot of them, it was Donald Trump that abandoned the MAGA movement, and these other people are still there. And Steve Bannon says that the U.S. is in a civil war. That's one thing he put out. And he said, for the leftists, I don't know, leftist, what is the term leftist anymore? What is the term, any of these terms, like right and left? Anyway, he said the purpose of the revolution is the revolution itself. And a lot of them, sometimes I have to agree. I don't know. Bannon also said that Washington, D.C., now this is the more important thing, is infested with traitors. By definition, he's absolutely right. There's no lie about that. He mentioned Israel and China. I don't know so much about China. I bet if it's China, it's very small, but there's definitely, listen to Ted Cruz, and there's so many of them, so very, very many of them. And I'll tell you what, they get more, apparently, they think they get more from Israel than they get from the United States. Of course, they owe their political office, apparently, to Israel. But it is so bad, and I don't know, is the United States ever going to be in a position to somehow clean that system out, to get Israel out of there? They virtually own, I've said so many times, other people have at least hinted at it, that Israel virtually owns the United States government, and I think they're talking about even judges and prosecutors and things like that. A lot of people are talking about that. They even own a lot of them, the whole court systems, and it is really terrible. So anyway, not more to say about that. Zelensky, he bombs civilians about every single day. The day before yesterday, he bombed a car. I think it was more than that, of course. One of them was a car filled with people, and I think he killed them all. And yesterday afternoon, he bombed a shopping center, a big shopping center, like a shopping mall. And 2 hours before that, he talked to Donald Trump. There's a lot to say about that, I'll tell you what. And we'll talk about, it's at the end, I'll tell you in the end, I'm getting close. So what else happened? 3 Qatari diplomats that were going to this meeting in Sharm el-Sheikh, where Donald Trump is having this signing of the Middle East peace process. 3 of the ones, there were 5 people in a car, and they got in a car accident, killed in Egypt, like less than 50 miles away from where the summit is going to be held. The last 2, the ones that didn't die yet, they are severely wounded. That's incredible. Oh, they took the chairs from this guy. Real hot girls over there. I don't know. Too bad I can't show it to you guys. There was a guy here in Belarus who was making I think he had this video. He's actually was a subscriber. I don't know if he still is. He's talking about Instagram girls, but I think he moved to a different country. I think he travels around. But anyway, Bill Gates, get this, Bill Gates and Chelsea Clinton have teamed up. You know, he's funding heavily, big time, a lot of money to Chelsea Clinton for child vaccines. Oh boy, what a noble cause, just like he did in India. You know, I don't know, you can ask some of the young ladies over there, but most of them are paralyzed when he's giving them polio shots. How did they get paralyzed? I have no idea. Polio shots, but anyway, but what a great guy. And all these people in Africa, that you never hear of anymore. This stuff is, why did they wipe it from the internet? That Bill Gates, where he was doing his vaccines. Is he working now in the United States? Makes you wonder, well, what is in these vaccines? This is some real, I tell you what, you guys all know what I'm getting at. I don't know what I can say on YouTube. I know they've loosened up things quite a bit, but that's maybe all I should say for right now. So Gates is bankrolling Dr. Chelsea Clinton. I remember when she was just knee-high. Dr. Chelsea Clinton. And she's not a doctor in anything medical. She's a doctor of philosophy. I don't know, maybe that's an easy major, like a doctor in sociology or something like that, at least in my day. Anyway, the biggest ever. It's one of the biggest, massive. Just when these things are coming out about autism that was put out by RFK Jr., even with Donald Trump and all that, now these Democrats are coming up with a massive vaccination program, the biggest ever apparently. I don't know if it's, I guess there's a Chelsea Clinton Foundation. Wow. So what else is going on? The EU. This is some, you heard about these digital IDs and stuff like that they're trying to push in the UK. Wow. Apparently they've stopped that for right now. However, somehow they snuck this in the EU. The EU has actually got this stuff now. They've created. Now this is from a European Union representative who was not very happy, and he said that they have now created a digital wallet called the CBDC. which will institute digital IDs plus digital euros. You may not hear about this for a little while. I don't know if there's any chance for the people in Europe to get rid of this, but you have a loss of privacy, and the government will eventually have total control of you. They will monitor all of your expenditures, where you put your money, maybe even what you've seen online, like what they do already in the UK. And they do it already, as you all know. That's why they come and knock on your door and said, you clicked on the wrong thing, you put a like on this, how bad. And now we have to take your phone, we have to take you and arrest you, we have to put you in jail because you clicked a like on something that is pro-Palestinian or something. This is not heading very well. A lot of people are talking about this Orwellian takeover. A lot of this stuff has started in Australia as well. This is some real bad stuff. You got to come to Belarus, everybody. I hope they're not going to do it here. Anyway, so as a matter of fact, I know if Lukashenko's here, they're not going to ever do that. So anyway, total control, eventually total control of everything, not everyone, everything, and everyone. Wow. The Financial Times put out that the U.S. has been helping. This is what I was telling you about earlier, and I just put you guys in suspense on what the U.S. like spending a lot of money on Ukraine and helping Ukraine and being involved in the war and all that sort of a deal. You know, like you remember Joe Biden, you know, escalating and all that. Well, get this, the Financial Times, and this pretty much has been, collaborated by other outlets. Financial Times put out that the U.S. has been helping the Ukraine target Russian energy facilities for many months. Now, do you remember when the Ukraine, I don't even know what month that was, and they started hitting all these like switching stations, even some that are aligned with the United States energy companies like, Exxon or Chevron or whatever, and Ukraine was hitting them. And I was thinking the United States would get pissed off, but guess what? They didn't get pissed off. And remember when Ukraine, I think they bombed 3 times the southern branch of the Druzhba pipeline going into, through Slovakia, and for energy for Ukraine, for Slovakia and Hungary. And when he was confronted with it, Zelensky just laughed. And some girl was really interested there. Still looking. But anyway, but they let's see if I can show you. There they are with their mother over there. But anyway, they were a lot of people. They were when confronted with it, Zelensky just laughed. He just laughed. He thought it was very funny, and nobody said anything. The EU, the EU didn't do anything about it. They didn't give a crap about it. That EU countries were having their energy cut off, and as you all know, Slovakia and Hungary are landlocked. They don't have any ports. They got to. I tell you what. And if you want to get any energy to them from some port, it has to go through a number of countries, and there's transit fees, and it becomes very expensive. It's already expensive because it has to go through Ukraine, and Ukraine has really vamped up the transit fees, but they need energy. Slovakia and Hungary need energy. I don't know about Serbia. Maybe Serbia has their other way. Maybe they get energy through the Turk Stream. They're a little bit more south. I'm not quite sure. I don't know where all this stuff goes. And I was telling you guys about Transnistria. Transnistria, it has a bad course as well. It has to go through Moldova. And Transnistria is pro-Russian. They're really trying to push these other countries into all being anti-Russia. Join the Hate Russia Club. Somebody even started talking about that. They even had the name, almost the Hate Russia Club. Anyhow, I'm almost done. Gosh, what am I at? Oh, I'm 1 hour, 10 minutes. I hope you guys like this video. Anyway, Financial Times put out, I told you that already. Anyway, the United States has been doing that for many months. They've been helping the Ukraine bomb, such as refinement facilities where the oil is refined. So this is a joint effort, the United States and Ukraine. Russia, obviously, they know about this. They know that this is a joint effort, the United States and Ukraine, targeting pipelines and refinement facilities and whatnot. So with ATACMS, that's one reason why maybe they're not giving so many ATACMS, but now they're giving these ERAMs, these extended range missiles already to Ukraine, and they might be sending these, what is the other ones, these Tomahawks. I'll tell you what, I mean, it's not that they're going to win the war. You might just see Russia vamping up things a little bit. Russia is actually using restraint right now, and they have more weapons, they have bigger weapons. They're going to reveal, I guess, in the very near future, Putin said, maybe in the next week or two, another weapon. I don't know if it'll be on the line of the Orishnik, which cannot be defended against. And they're in mass production of Orishnik right now. If I were them, I'd be training a lot of people to build these Orishniks. And I tell you what, and I tell you what, because of all of these machinations against humanity, it's nothing against the United States or whatever, but it's against humanity, against truth and justice. You know, I hope that Russia has 700 or 1,000 of these things already, you know, and nobody can defend themselves against it. Bunch of evil crap going on. Yes. So they said that the reason why, wait a minute, who said this? Officials, I don't know what officials say that this is, they're bombing these oil refineries and things like that, is a coordinated effort to weaken Putin's economy and force him to negotiate. You know, yeah, you think that the Russians, you know, and I'll tell you what, some people are saying that there's lines. There isn't really lines, but Russia is feeling a little bit of this pain, a little bit, at like gas stations, people filling up their cars and things like that. But they do have other refineries, and I'm sure it takes a while to build these things, to rebuild this, you know, or repair the ones that the United States has been hitting, and the Ukraine. So you might eventually expect another escalation also on the Russian side, because apparently the West has already escalated. So we'll see what happens. But anyhow, I guess that's about it, everybody. It's kind of a long video and a different video. Oh, nice young ladies. Maybe too young. But anyway, I won't show you. You guys keep your eyes to yourself. So anyway, thanks for joining me, everybody, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.